And we're talking about the 49ers and Nick Bosa. You brought up some interesting numbers here in terms of guaranteed money. There have been 2 defensive ends who've commanded over $100 million in guaranteed money.
Yeah, Joey Bosa at $102 million and Myles Garrett at an even $100. The third defensive end on that list, as far as guaranteed money, is Khalil Mack at $90. So we were just kind of speculating at the break here. It's like, okay, what could Brian Aralt, the agent who also negotiated that Joey Bosa deal, is also Nick's agent, what could he possibly want in guaranteed? Well, I would say if you're the Niners, you should have expected he wanted at least 110.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
That would be the expectation. What if he wants north of 125? And now you're Parag and you're like, wait a second, my job is to negotiate contracts that are favorable for the team. If he gets north of 125, that's a loss. And Jed's looking at me like, what would you say you do here? You know, and it's just, so it's like, I think everybody's got a different scorecard. I think Parag's scorecard is getting these deals favorable for the team. John's scorecard is making sure that he wins every trade, which is why he just traded Trey Lance to their most hated rival for a 4th-round pick when the talk was that other teams had interest and they could have gotten a 6th. So you're telling me the difference. So you don't care at all about trading him to the Cowboys because you had to get that 4th-round pick. That screams to me that John Lynch has some pressure on him to make the best deal, not just move him to another place. And they said it was like, hey, we're going to do what's best for Trey. They didn't do what's best for Trey. They did what was he's still a 3rd-string quarterback. He's not playing in Dallas. They did what was best for themselves as far as compensation. I believe them when they say Dallas offering the 4th was a better offer than they got elsewhere. So even Steve Young was like, I would never trade with Dallas because he's still seeing Charles Haley nightmares in his head. But, I mean, they traded him to Dallas. What if he becomes awesome with Dallas? You traded him to Dallas, your hated rival, over, let's say, Tennessee or whatever AFC team wanted him, for the difference between, a conditional 6th versus a straight-up 4th? It's better compensation, but it just screams out, there was pressure on me as the general manager to get the best compensation package, regardless of where it was.
What's Aaron Donald's guarantee? What was that when he signed?
His AAV is $31.6 million. As far as guarantees, I don't know what his guarantee was. I know that Quinnen Williams' guaranteed money was the highest. Oh, actually, I do have it here. It was $60 million guaranteed for Aaron Donald. And it was the most for a defensive tackle was Quinnen Williams, who was also in that Bosa draft. He went 1 pick later to the Jets. He got $66 million guaranteed.
But the 2 defensive ends have already gotten $100 million guaranteed.
So, like the caller was just saying,
that's a big number.
Why do the DNs not make a lot? Well, they actually do.
Right.
Compared to the other, compared to like a tight end or something like that, they make a lot more.
Let's go to Anthony in Benicia. What's up, Anthony? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, guys. What's up, Larry? So I guess I have a small take on the Bosa thing, but I want to get to my regular take or whatnot. So I don't know if Bosa is better than Aaron Donald, and I'm not in the negotiation or anything like that, but if I was the 49ers, and I'm sure it's gotten to this point already, they can't help but look at, Bosa's performances in the playoffs versus some of the other high-end guys on the defensive side. And I know Bosa and Aaron play different positions, but Aaron showed up in the playoffs and specifically the Super Bowl, and he made a very big difference. And so I wonder if that might be a point of contention. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. But my main point was when we guys continue to drive the point home that the Niners had made the NFC Championship, that's fantastic, but it kind of reminds me or is giving me vibes of the 73-9 Warriors. And that was a great season, but it didn't culminate to anything. And so I kind of get a little annoyed, obviously radio annoyed, when someone like Guru hopes he gets better, and even you, Matt, to a certain degree, kind of continues to bring that up. But it's like you have to win eventually. And I know I agree with you, Matt, that you do need to get there first to obviously break through, but you have to break through eventually. And so sometimes I feel like it falls on deaf ears to a certain degree because, like, it's all good to get there, but players have all said it. We play to win the Super Bowl. And if we don't win the Super Bowl, the season was off or not. And so I think us fans have to have that same mentality. Like, I definitely want to enjoy the season, and I'm happy it's here, and my birthday's in a couple of weeks, so I love September, especially for the start of the NFL. But, like, but I want to see these guys win one. And I think it's fair to at some point say, I'm tired of getting to the NFC Championship. I want to get to the thing, and I want to win. I want to be at the altar, not the bridesmaid. I want to be the bride sort of thing. So that's just kind of my point, guys.
That's fair. You know what, though? How about I'll make a deal. I'll make a deal with fans. How about we talk playoffs during the regular season, and then we can talk Super Bowl when you make the playoffs? Because you got to make the playoffs first. You have to.
Bosa, by the way, in the playoffs last year, no sacks.
I know.
No sacks. And by the way, as far as Aaron Donald last year, Aaron Donald had 5 sacks last year.
Well, he was paid on kind of what he did, and that was understood. Bosa ideally has his best days in front of him.
Right.
So, that's something you got to obviously throw into the equation. But I do think you're onto something with that guaranteed money. There's no way he wants less than 100. There's no way he wants less than his brother.
No. It's a new year.
Yeah.
Everything goes up, right?
No doubt.
So 110 is a given.
Yes.
But with the leverage and all that goes into Nick coming off the DPOY, the Niners kind of being over a barrel a little bit. They've kicked this thing down the road. The expectations are getting them signed. They're in the Super Bowl window. They just made an unpopular trade, moving off of a top 5 pick. It's very possible that they want north of 125. And I think that Parag is staring at that, if it is Parag. I don't even know that Parag's negotiating this. But if Parag is negotiating this, I'm sure he looks at that 125 guarantee, Steiny, and says, that's a number that's going to make me look bad. And I wish Jed would just intercede, if he hasn't already, and just say, Parag, you have value to us that supersedes this contract. You got to win most of the deals, but you don't got to win all of them. And this is not one you're going to win. They have the leverage.
I seem to remember when the news came out about Parag and the Leeds soccer team, he made a point to say, I'm still going to be very involved with the 49ers. So until I hear differently, I'm going to assume it's him. Let's go to Michael in Lemoore. What's up, Michael? How you doing, man?
Steiny, Larry, love you guys both. The Guru, I hope you feel better. I'm the type of fan where my allegiance is pledged to name on the front, not the name on the back. I'm to say Steiny Bosa are emotionally attached to Bosa. And I'm all about ROI and strike while the iron's hot. If you can get high draft picks for Nick Bosa right now, just do it, because it sounds to me like they're not on agreement on price right now, and it's deja all over again with the force.
Appreciate, Mike. You're breaking up a little bit, but
he's talking about trade. I'll say this though. The other we're talking about how there's no real win situations. If you trade Nick Bosa for a draft pick haul, you're still losing.
Yeah, this year.
How do you look at Trent Williams in the eye and say, and all those guys who've just been grinding through camp every day, all about this year. You just moved off of Trey Lance for Brandon Allen, all in the name of this year. Yep. And then suddenly you're going to be like, yeah, we took 2 number ones next year and a number 1 down the road. I don't think that works. To me, there's 2 teams that I think I'd be interested to see what they were offering. One would be the Jets, who could give you, what the Niners really need is they need more defensive end depth across the board, even if they have Bosa. You could get Will McDonald, maybe Jermaine Johnson, maybe Bryce Huff, maybe you get a number 1. It's a lot, but they're getting a great, great player. That's probably win-win for the Niners and Jets. The other one that's kind of interesting is the Dolphins. I mean, he's a Florida guy, right? His dad played for the Dolphins. He went to St. Thomas Aquinas. What if the Dolphins, who just got into a negotiation with Christian Wilkins, gave you Christian Wilkins, Jalen Phillips, and a number 1? So you get a defensive end of note who's a first-round pick. You get a defensive tackle who's versatile and really talented. He wants a lot of money too, but not as much probably. And you get a future number 1. I mean, those 2 deals at least you can look your locker room in the eye and say, guys, the goal's to win the Super Bowl, and it's still to win the Super Bowl. But if you trade him to, I don't know, Team X for 3 number ones or even some bounty of picks, 3 number ones and couple twos, some great thing where you won the deal. So what? You're still going to lose the locker room if you're not replacing him.
And that's, yeah, exactly. And that's the position they put themselves in because they have guys who are thinking Super Bowl right now. Yeah, you're right. Can you imagine Trent Williams and Kittle and Ayuk just playing on a team where they lost Nick Bosa? I mean, it's a long time ago, but the Warriors traded Chris Webber early in his career, and it set him back a long ways. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but clearly, here's the other thing. At what point do you say or ask, does he want to be here? Does he want to be here?
Yeah, and
I'm assuming he does.
Well, maybe he doesn't.
I know.
I mean, look at the tax rate in California. Look at the tax rate in Florida. Look at the difference in financial situations if you're a big wage earner in those 2 states. It's possible he wants no part in California taxes. It's possible that this whole thing is driven to force the Niners to move him to a... Now, New York's not going to be better. New York's tax situation is probably even worse, right? But the Florida tax situation is definitely a better situation, and he's from there, so maybe he wants to be there.